So let's talk about the Kanban Lens and seeing knowledge work as a service. So this is really powerful, but it's very simple at the same time, which is why I wanted to do this. Now, let's start off with a Kanban system for a typical team. And on it, we'll say they have different work items scattered throughout the process. The piece that I want to emphasize is the lens of the Kanban lens means we have to look at work differently. So the first sort of line is seeing work as flow. So on a Kanban system here, we see work that flows through the system. The second part is it's a sequence of knowledge discovery steps. So every time a card moves, it's not necessarily a handoff. It's not a different task. It's some new piece of knowledge that we're gaining about a work. That's why typically work does not move backwards. That's a bit different topic. The third part of the Kanban lens is seeing knowledge work as a service. So every time there's a system designed, the Kanban system like this, in an organization where we just look at this and think about it not as a team, but as a service. This is a service that's receiving an order or piece of work from one or more customers, doing some work in the middle here, and then that work goes off somewhere else, either to someone inside our business or outside our business. The last part is organizations typically have multiple of these services scattered throughout. And that's the most important part I want to emphasize. The fact that a lot of times we are working with other services but don't really realize it. So what are some examples of that? So some examples might be if we have sort of stakeholders, VPs, or directors who take in work from different sources and basically maybe do some prioritization work on it, writing business case, approvals, getting funding, and then that work all feeds into our team service. It could be near the end of our process where we have people who then take the piece of code that we've looked at and developed, and they run some checks, make sure everything's good, and then ship it out to the store for people to buy. We may also have people who work in operations and training who are taking all the sort of new things we're developing and turn those into new books and manuals for training, new guidelines that other people consume. So those are just some different examples. Now, within our normal day-to-day work, the thing we typically see these different services as are handoffs, different co-acting groups, where people are not a team, but they come together to do some work. So we may have a group of VPs and directors come together temporarily as a co-acting group to perform this activity. We have dependencies that typically come up maybe as blockers, where we have to wait for some other group to do some work, and then they come back to us, and then we can proceed. So we also have other types of this throughout. We have hiring and onboarding who help us bring new people on board and join our teams. We have IT support desks who sort of, they'll take a look and provide us with new computers and laptops for people to use, or maybe some accounts and credentials so people can sign into our services. Every team has this, but with the Kanban lens, what we're emphasizing is that these things are services. So what we can start to do as sort of change agents, as managers, as coaches, is once we've identified them, we have these different groups over here, then we're saying, hey, this is a service. So what does this service look like? If we had a Kanban system, training and operations, putting these manuals together, this is also a service. What does that service look like? And so on and so forth. So we're Kanbanizing all of the different services that go into our organization and our value stream. Once we have these all mapped out, we can do even more interesting things. Once we know what the value stream is in our value chain, we can map it out. So we can sort of see, once we have our product, released in the market that customers can buy, what are the different connections between our different services within our organization. What does that value stream look like? We could also say, according to the team topologies, what types of teams are these? Are they streamlined teams? Are they platform teams? Are they complicated subsystem teams? And even more so, how are they interacting with one another? So we have a lot more tools to help us design more functional organizations.